Hey everyone, welcome back to another tier list video. We're going to start doing a tier list video every Tuesday or so. I'll just upload them on Tuesday, so it can be tier list Tuesday. I just really don't have a plan to do it every week just because I sometimes end up really busy, but I hope to keep the tabletop gameplays every single Friday. So today we're looking over all of the character rares and we're going to rank them on how much I like them. This isn't a playability factor. Obviously it's a playability factor, we're putting stuff like, Rangaroo really high, and you're putting stuff like Excadrill was really good. Most of the character rares aren't that good, to be honest. You get Houndoom and those are like really good ones playability-wise. But today we're looking over this on a perspective of how much I like them, and I actually have had this tier list done for like probably 5 months at this point, but I just kind of forgot about it. And I was reminded because Awesome Games did a video on it, so check his video out if you'd like, his channel. He does a lot of topics around the Pokemon community as a whole, a lot of controversies. Kind of like if you used to watch Keemstar, kind of become the Keemstar of the Pokemon community in a way, just covering all the drama. But yeah, I'm gonna get right into this tier list, ranking these based on how much I like them. Obviously, this is my own opinion. If you'd like to do the tier list yourself, it'll be in the link in the description down below. I did make this tier list. It's not special or anything like my other ones where I had to create the labels. It's just the character rares itself. All in Japanese because the Silver Tempest ones weren't out at the time. So starting off, we have Mightyena. I'm going to put this at a B tier. This one's pretty good. I may adjust these as I go if I change my mind. Some of them, if B tier gets super overcrowded, I'm like, this is actually kind of like a C, and it doesn't rank up to the other Bs. But I do like it. Mightyena and Sydney, very cute combo. Wouldn't really expect that out of Sydney, who's this hard dude, and Mightyena, who's this demon dog, but it looks really cute in this picture, so I do like it. Also a very playable card in some Zoro boxes, so if you like playing your Zoro box, there you go. Oh, we have Hoot here. Hoot. I'm tempted to give it S, but I don't think it's S. I want to put it in A tier. It is really good, though. It's by Hyoganosuke, and just really good artwork. Just really cool looking. The reason I can't put it up higher, though, is because I'm rating this against the other arts he's done, and this is not as good as another one of his character rares that we're going to get to in a minute. So I assume it's a him, sorry. That could be a she as well for the artist. So not going to make any more assumptions in that regard. Next up, we have Snorlax. This is the Koki Saito Snorlax. I'm honestly not a big fan of this. I like Snorlax as a Pokemon, but this artwork just really doesn't do it for me. I personally like the regular Snorlax better. I probably would play the character rare anyway, just because I like the way the character rares look in a deck, but not a big fan of this one. There was not a lot of highlights, honestly, in this set when it comes to character rares. I really didn't like a lot of the Silver Tempest character rares. I guess I should say in Japan, Paradigm Trigger, or no, it'd be Incandescent Arcana in Japan. Incandescent Arcana and then Lost Origin. They just really didn't have that great of character rares compared to the sets before them, at least. Parasect, same thing. It's kind of neat looking, but the character isn't all that notable. It's just a member of the Galaxy Expedition team, if I remember correctly, or is that Merchant Guild? One of the two. And you have Parasect. I'm not a big fan of Parasect, not a big fan of this card. Next up, we have the Smeargle. This one's actually really cool. Lots of colorful on it, so I'm going to put it in A tier. The painter itself is kind of whatever. Again, they kind of just picked a random character for that. It's not that appealing, but the Smeargle itself looks really cool. Next up, we have the Hyoganosuke Jinx. I think this is significantly worse than his other cards. I'm going to put it in C, though, because it's not actually bad. It's just kind of bland. Will is a cool character, though. I would have rather seen, instead of Jinx, maybe giving Will a character rare with Xatu, which is his star Pokemon on his team. Though it doesn't always have to be a Pokemon on their team, like we're going to see with the next one, Price and Abomasnow. They don't always have the Pokemon in the games proper. Price maybe as an Abomasnow in Gen 5 in the Pokemon World Tournament. I don't remember his team, though, there. I do remember he has a sheer cold Pokemon, though, that kind of pissed me off. But next up, we have the Mitsuhiro Arita, Price, and Abomasnow. This one's just great. I may put it in S tier later. For now, I'm going to put it at the top of A. It's just a really good artwork. Abomasnow is just a sick Pokemon, so Price is a sick character, and it's just really well drawn. Next up, we're going to have our first F. This Flavel just does nothing for me. It's not like it's a badly drawn card, but both the Pokemon itself and Milo on it don't do anything for me, and it's not illustrated in a way that's going to make me care about a card otherwise wouldn't. Next up we have Leonzard. I'm going to put that in D tier. I believe this is by Ghidorah. Ghidorah does a lot of good artworks, but this isn't one of my favorites. It's just kind of whatever. I'm not a Charizard fan, though, to begin with, so I'm a little biased in that regard. We have Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. I think Jolteon definitely got the best of these three. We're going to put that in B tier, and I think Vaporeon also fits in B tier. I think Flareon goes in C tier, though. I like Flareon a little bit less in this artwork, which is a little bit ironic considering Flareon is actually my favorite of these three evolutions. I just think it got the less cool character rare. Next up we have Kingdra with Claire. I do not remember who drew this, but this is going to go in B tier. It's a pretty solid character rare, all around decent. I do think though that its one downside is that it's actually worse than the actual art from the set, which is done by Kawayu, which I think is one of the greatest arts of any holo rare in the Sword and Shield era. So, you know, you got a tough competition there, and I do think that does pull it down from being like an A or an S, is because it's just worse than the already existing artwork. So if you see an art that's like already worse than the existing artwork, which most of the character rares are not, almost all the character rares are better besides like Snorlax and Kingdra so far, but there are a few that are going to be worse than the actual artwork in the set in my opinion. Obviously art is all subjective. For reference, I hate CG art, and I dislike some of the specific artists working in the Pokemon TCG, so yeah. Not to be harsh or anything. Next up we have Octillery. This one's great, A tier. I forget which manga author drew this, but they had a manga author brought in to illustrate the specific character rare. Not only is it a playable card, it's just a really nice looking card. It has a lot of white and blue. Very, if you watch the series Aria, it gives that Aria vibes of like Fisherman Town with a lot of white and blue. Next up we have the Frostmoth and Melanie. This one's just not particularly special. I'm going to give it a D tier. I don't like Frostmoth, I don't like Melanie. It's cool that they're putting up the lights, though. It's kind of better than everything here. I'm going to put it up in a C tier. I don't want to be too harsh to it, because it is, like, I do like that they're putting up the lights in here, and it is better than everything in D tier. So, for now, it will be C tier. Next up, we have Flaffy and Elisa. This one is absolutely incredible. I immediately ordered it the second it came out. I was so excited when it got revealed. Flaffy is a great Pokemon. Elisa is a great trainer, and the artwork on here just does it perfectly. It's everything a character rare needs to be. Experimenting with stylistic choices is definitely good, but even just a really well-drawn card in the style of, you know, if you've ever seen Koki Saito's cards, like the Snorlax down here, or the his artworks in the main set, sometimes just drawing a Pokemon how it looks actually can just be as good as a stylistic interpretation if it's done well. Next up we have Zekrom on the polar opposite. This is like Pier style, and it's flying color style. Zekrom is so far my favorite out of all these. It's like really tied with Elisa, I guess. Zekrom and N, character rare from this set, just absolutely wonderful card. And yeah, I'm glad I pulled one in English. I bought it in Japanese because it looks better in Japanese. I actually own two of them in Japanese. Just beautiful card. Next up we have Gardevoir and Doctor. This Gardevoir is a male, by the way. Hope you didn't have any fun thoughts about it. So, let's see. This one is just kind of bland. It was one of the originally revealed ones, along with the Flaffy and the Zekrom. I believe it was Gardevoir. And I don't remember the fourth one. Was it Ariados, maybe, that was revealed alongside them? Either way, this one's just kind of mid. I'm going to put it in D tier. It doesn't really do anything for me. The artwork isn't anything special. The character doesn't really do anything. They could have easily put like Gardevoir with Wally, Gardevoir with Diantha like they did later. There's a lot of different characters that have Gardevoir where it feels like a total waste to represent it with Doctor, who's just like not an interesting NPC. There is a case of an NPC later we're going to see that I'm going to give an S tier because it's just a beautiful card and it's an actual like likable NPC, but just the Doctor doesn't do much for me. We have the Phoebe here with Bayonet. This one is way better than I expected. I'm going to put it in A tier. When I saw this card initially, I wasn't super hyped about it. When I got in real life, though, the way it just glows, a very ghostly, eerie purple and blue behind the Bayonet. The Bayonet looks super vivid and evil. It's really, really cool. Quite like that one. Same with the Dusknoir, also A tier. Same thing going on here, where it doesn't look like much when you just look at it, but when you get that shine on it, it's super, super nice looking. Yeah, super excited about that. Next up we have Malamar and Xerosic. This one's also going to be an A tier. This card looks great. I really need to buy some of these, to be honest. I'm going to build a Malamar deck for Sword and Shield Brilliant Stars with 4 of these in there. It's just a really, really evil looking card. Perfect for Malamar and Xerosic, which are up to no good, surely, making you press that button. Next up, this is going to be probably my most hot take on this thing. Frankly, a couple of hot takes coming up. This is my least favorite character rare of all time, not because it's ugly, but because it took Whimsicott's spot. So I will get an F tier, because Whimsicott should have gotten a character rare. Whimsicott would have fit in the slot. Either Whimsicott or Sigilif should have gotten a character rare, I should specify. Either one would have made me very happy. Instead, we got this one, which didn't deserve a character rare in the slightest. And similarly, this is Alcremie, I'm going to give F tier, one of my least favorite character rares, and it's another case where it's significantly worse than the actual set appearance of the card. The Alcremie drawn by Soso in Brilliant Stars is so much better than this Alcremie here, so I'm going to put this one in F tier, just because it's like such a downgrade. I'm not a big fan of Okacheke. I know that might be a little bit of a, sorry opinion to hear if your name is PTCG Radio, who always talks about his love for the artist, but I'm not a big fan of Okacheke's artwork, and this one is just like probably, I'm not going to call it my least favorite character rare, but definitely bottom like 5 for sure. Except we have Rockruff and Kukui. This one's really cute, but doesn't do a lot for me because I don't like Rockruff as a Pokemon. So I'm going to put it in D tier. Kukui himself, very cool. I think it would have been better maybe if you gave a different Pokemon to Kukui, because I just don't like Rockruff, and it's not even like a playable card, so I can't use it in a deck. Then we have the Passimian. This is like definitely another bottom 5 one. This one's just very boring. It's not like it's a bad artwork, it's just like a very boring NPC with a Pokemon that I'm like not particularly fond of. Like Passimian is fine, but like there's just nothing special about this card that would make me want to collect it. Yet I still own it because I own every single one of these character rares. Because I have a complete character rare collection and they are going away, so like, yeah, I have a complete collection for a significant amount of while. Next up we have B and Phalanx. I was originally higher opinion on this, but honestly it's moved down to C tier over time. It's just like nothing really going for it that much. I'd rather, if we're like, it's kind of cool seeing B going out shopping with this, but I'd really like it if they had like B in her casual outfit like she is in the trainer signature rare. And Phalanx is cool, but honestly, there's a few other Pokemon that I like that she has more, like Sirfetch'd, that would have been a cooler inclusion here, as well as Machamp. Seeing a Machamp character rare would have been quite cool. Next up we have Ariados. This one is decent. Gonna put it up in B tier. I like its dark coloring, and it was unexpected seeing Ariados and Janine together. Really not a pair you'd think of, even a Pokemon you'd think of for getting a character rare, but it worked out pretty well. Next up we have Grimsley and Houndoom. Gonna put that up in A tier. Someone pointed out that Houndoom kind of looks like a bowling pin, and I can't unsee it. It is shaped like a bowling pin, but the art is still really cool. Grimsley is a really cool character. Houndoom, while not one of my favorite Pokemon, is still pretty cool, and it's a playable card. Can't wait to get a couple more of these. I think I have like 2 of them in real life in English, so I can put them in a deck. Next up we have Obstagoon. I know this might be unpopular take, but I don't like this one. It's not because it's like a particularly horrible card. I was just really hoping we'd get a dragon character rare, so it disappointed me a little, and this card doesn't really blow me away at all. I'm not a huge fan of Obstagoon itself, not a huge fan of Piers, not a huge fan of the card itself. Was really hoping we get like a Hydreigon character rare with Ghetsis or Iris. Unfortunately, I mean, I almost kind of predicted it when we were guessing what the character rares was going to be. There was a dark slot open, and I'm like, oh, we're going to get this Obstagoon printed again for the 7th time, aren't we? Because Sword and Shield had a bit of a problem with printing the exact same Pokemon over and over. Look at, like, Frostmoth, Obstagoon, there's a few others, like the Rillaboom. Like, those guys, like, the good ability mons in Sword and Shield Base and Rebel Clash got printed over and over and over and over again. I kid you not, this Obstagoon has, like, 6 or 7 printings. It just feels excessive. Although this is probably the best one, honestly. Still not a one I like. Next up, we have Jasmine and Bronzong. Go put that in A tier. Kind of like it. It's Bronzong is one of my favorite Pokemon, and Jasmine is pretty cool too. Got a nice background. This one feels really good in the light. The artwork isn't like super stunning, so I can't give it S tier. but it does look really good when you shine the light on it. Next up, we have my absolute favorite character rare. Again, this was the one I was talking about with the NPC. You can have a generic NPC and have it be good. It just has to be an NPC that I actually like. And I love the Ace Trainer design from Generation 5, both the male and the female one. The male is like super cocky and the female one is like super prideful. It just works out like really well. Super cool trainer class, and I don't even like Druddigon. I don't like Druddigon, but this art is fantastic. This is the card that made me really fall in love with T-Zero's art style. T-Zero is probably my favorite artist in the TCG right now, and it really helps that he's not only done this, but he's done a lot of my absolute favorite Pokemon, like he's drawn a Celebi card, a Golurk card, he's done some other ones that are really cool. He drew an Ursaring card. I hate Ursaring. I think Ursaring is a really bad Pokemon. Design-wise, but like he made an Ursaring look cool. You know that's an artist's talented when he takes one of your least favorite Pokemon and makes it look good. Next up we have Bill and Eevee. Not a big fan of this one either. I'm not an Eevee stan, like a lot of people probably are. Honestly, the Eevees, like the Eeveelutions, some of them are cool, quite like Leafeon and Flareon, but honestly, like the Eevees themselves don't do much for me. Sharon and Castform is pretty good. We're going to put that in B tier. Probably the top of like all these ones in B tier. I like Sharon quite a bit. The Castform is not really the Pokemon I expect they'd give him. Kind of an odd choice to print also just this Castform, which is like kind of the worst of the Castform forms even. That's kind of an interesting thing to say, Castform form. But, you know, it's a card and it looks really nice. Sharon's obviously teaching his class in the trainer school. And I guess Castform's just like showing up to like, I don't know, rain on people. You know, if they fail their test, you just dunk a bunch of lead and hail on them. That'd be pretty sick. Next up we have Oranguru. This one is so colorful, so fun to look at, and it's playable to boot. Absolutely great character rare. A tier. We have some original Cosmic Eclipse ones coming up. I think they all got lined up. The tier maker kind of just randomizes these, to be honest, but looks like the Cosmic Eclipse ones got lined up. We have Torkoal here. This one's just not really impressive at all. Doesn't do anything for me. Could like go up to D tier because I don't hate it, I guess, but it's just like not at all good. Cyrus and Weavile, very cool. B tier. Very imposing looking artwork, but I don't know. I think they could show some better Pokemon for Cyrus. I know his ace is Weavile, but honestly, I think his Honchkrow is cooler. So maybe a Gyarados or a Honchkrow would have fit a little bit more. Regardless, it's still pretty cool. Dawn and Piplup, this one's just okay. Doesn't do anything for me. The artwork's kind of just bland. Dawn is like kind of there. Piplup is a Pokemon I don't particularly like, so it's just kind of whatever. Dawn, or not, that's not Dawn, that's Lana and Wishy Washy. Very, very cool one, once again, S tier card. Just a really, really nice looking character rare. Really, really reflects the light well. Wishy Washy and Lana, both really cool, and the card really does it justice. It's also a very fun card to play if you play Gym Leader Challenge. Red and Pikachu, another hot take. I'm not a big fan of this one. Definitely a very boring character rare. I don't like the style of Red to begin with. This is another thing that's kind of like, I guess, weird about me, is that I care about Red's design a little bit more than most people probably do. I really like his design in Heart Gold Silver, where he's very badass looking. And, you know, he got this design right here kind of gives me like a Gravity Falls like vibe to it, which I know sounds weird, but like it kind of like takes me out of the whole like Red is like this, you know, unbeatable badass kind of vibe, and it takes me more to like a more comfy vibe, which is not really the style that I'd go for Red. If this was just your protagonist in like Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, that would make sense. But it's Red and it doesn't make as much sense. Maybe it is your protagonist and I'm just missing something, but I'm like 90% sure this is Red. Let's see, we have Magnemite here. This one's pretty decent, it's just okay. Clean the Magnemite, giving it a shine, pretty happy. Wasn't too motivated to have to buy this one, but I was completing all the character rares at the time, so I did anyway. It's not a playable card, unfortunately. It's not a good Magnemite, but it is cool, if nothing else. The Roxy and Cosmog, this one's absolutely wonderful. Probably second favorite character rare. I'm going to rank them. And this is how I'll rank them. This is the other Hyogonosuke character rare that I really, really like. Just the contrasting colors here. Only using 3 colors to draw like really the entire thing. Really makes it pop. It works with Roxy's poisonous style. And, you know, it's just a lot of fun. You'll notice that, like, 4 of the 5 up here are Gen 5 related, so if you didn't know, Black and White and Black and White 2 are my favorite games, so it makes sense. Next up we have Wally and Gallade. This one doesn't do anything for me personally. The artwork's just a little boring, so I'm going to put it in D tier. It's not awful, it's just kind of boring. Azrael and Mimikyu, pretty good. We're going to put it in B tier. She's sewing together the Mimikyu's outfit, which is actually like a really cool touch. I didn't know that Mimikyu's outfit can like break, so I suppose if it's getting hit by like flame balls and, you know, spatial rends and shit, it probably will break, so fixing them up, making them all nice and good. It's pretty cute. Next up we have Excadrill and Clay, another Gen 5 one, but this one's just great. Illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita, really brings out the coolness of Clay. I really wish they would have given Arita another character rare. They gave him a character super rare in Eternatus V. He also nailed that one, so I wish they would have just given him more character rares. Maybe a character rare around one of the evil team leaders like Ghetsis or Giovanni, Archie, Maxie, you know, one of the team leaders would make a really cool character rare. Or maybe even something like Drayden, like a Haxorus and Drayden card would be really well done. Because Arita's really good at making like very imposing figures on his cards. It's proven by his character rare and character super rare. Next up we have the Jasmine and Steelix. I like this one better than the other Jasmine, so I'm going to put S tier. Jasmine's kind of doing like this goofy, almost like Z-move pose right there, and the Steelix is just come behind to wreck your shit. Really funny looking. I also love Steelix, one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon, behind Celebi, so absolutely wonderful card. This is another one that people don't like right here, this Stoutland right here, but I actually quite like it, A tier. I get a little bit of bias just because I made a deck around this card, and it's one of my favorite decks to play in the expanded format, my Dogma deck, but that is not Dogma, this is Stoutland Stall, the Scoop Dog. Sorry, Dogma is a different Stoutland deck. There's like 5 different Stoutland decks I've built. So this is Scoop Dog, and it's where you just pick it up over and over and reuse its energy discard ability, as well as the Hurrier's item reusing ability, just over and over do the same combo, and it's just really sick. And this character rare just really does it. Sharon is a great character. Stoutland is a Pokemon I quite like. Actually, the first ever Pokemon I leveled up to level 100 was a Stoutland. Well, Black and White wasn't my first game. Diamond and Pearl was. I didn't play all the way through Diamond and Pearl. My first game I completed was Black and White, and I leveled up my Stoutland, who was my main party member, to level 100 first. Next up, we have Braixen and Serena. This one's pretty decent. Doesn't do a lot for me because I'm not a Serena fan, but I imagine if you're like a Serena fan, this is like huge winning. I know a friend of mine, I don't know if he'd call me a friend, but Mozilla Finnegan, I follow him on Twitter. He really likes Braixen, so I bet this card's like his S tier. So like I get what the card's going for and it does it really well. It's just like I'm not a particular fan of either of the characters, so it doesn't do it for me. Next up we have Chandelure and Chantel. I might have put this in A tier if you asked me about 6 months ago, but I made a deck around this card. It really made me appreciate the art even more. Again, another Gen 5 one going in S tier, but this one's absolutely S tier. I'll rank these again at the end. Just a great artwork. Chandelure is one of my favorite Pokemon, and Chantel's one of the Elite Four. Again, it's sad that Dedenne took the spot of possibly being a Sigilyph character rare, because if we would have gotten a Sigilyph character rare, they could have done Sigilyph and Caitlyn, which would have been amazing. I'd love to see an character rare for all of the Unova Elite Four, but unfortunately we're not getting character rares anymore for the time being. We did get 2 of the 4 Unova Elite Four though, so maybe someday we'll get the other 2 in character rare form. Marshall and Caitlyn are the ones that are missing, if you're wondering. Next up we have Wallace and Milotic. This one is pretty, but I don't like either of the characters, so it doesn't do a lot for me. I was kind of sad to pull this in my box, even though I didn't care what I pulled out of the Incandescent Arcana. There's only one character rare from Incandescent Arcana that I was like really liking, and it's not this one. This is probably, it's not as bad as Jinx, but it's down there as like one of the worst character rares in the set. Incandescent Arcana though was not a great set for character rares. Really great set for the character super rares, because we have Superior, and by the way, I'll do that maybe next week. We'll do a character super rare tier list, but as for this fella, not my favorite. Next up we have the Mai and Weirdeer. This one is really underwhelming. Mai doesn't like look like she's doing anything important here. She's like grabbing some sticks. Weirdeer's just there. There's nothing going on. The art style is, well, it looks nice because it's just like a, you know, like I said, that like more anime-esque style like Koki Saito draws. This one in particular, there's just like nothing's happening. It's really, really boring. Definitely bottom 5 character rare. Next up we have the Cleavor. This one's just okay. C tier. I'm not a big fan of it. Cleavor's like pretty menacing looking, but I'm not a big fan of Cleavor as a Pokemon. The battle you do with him in Legends Arceus is quite cool. I think his name is Liam. He has the warden who looks after Cleavor, but that might not be his name. I don't remember. He is Clay Jr. We'll just call him that, if I got it wrong. Next up we have the Akira Egawa, Gardevoir, and Diantha. This one, honestly, it felt like it missed the mark. A lot of other people were raving about this card. I think it's worse than the Mitsuhiro Arita Gardevoir print in the same Incandescent Arcana set, so I've got to give it C tier just because I think it's worse than what we already had. So unfortunate, but that's just the way a cookie crumbles, and I just don't think the art is like that great. This style could work for a lot of characters, but honestly, Gardevoir is like not the kind of Pokemon I would draw in this Egawa style. I feel like he would be better if they maybe... I'm trying to think. This is Incandescent Arcana, right? So there was Gardevoir, Jinx, Altaria, and I'm trying to think of the other ones that were Incandescent Arcana that he could have drawn. I don't know. The other ones, oh yeah, there's like breaks, and I guess he just really, like, Incandescent Arcana was kind of a cutesy set. There's a lot of cute Pokemon in there. I suppose if he drew Wallace, I think that would be like a more fitting example if you like swap the two artists here. Both did like good jobs, but just not like their respective Pokemon in this regard. Not a big fan. Next up we have the, I believe that's Atsuki Furusawa that drew the Pikachu and Akari. This one's pretty cute. It's grown on me over time, but it's not one of my favorites still. It's still B tier though, pretty good. When I say B, I'm thinking like an 80% grade, right? These are all like passing grade, but not like my absolute favorites. Anything A and above is like something I really like. Next up we have the last of the Incandescent Arcana character rares. The one I actually really wanted to pull from the set is the Licia and Altaria. I don't even like Licia or Altaria, but this card is just really well done. Yu Nishida drew this. Yu Nishida's done a lot of great artwork, including the Mew from Celebrations, the Celebi from Shining Fates. Just a lot of really, really good artwork after she won that competition. I believe she was the Gardevoir artist who won the one of the Illustrator competitions. So really, really good card. I'm tempted to put it in S, and I think I will. It's just really, really good. Just a really, really nice card. I was happy to pull it. Next up we have the, I forget who drew this, but it's Ray and Hisuian Arcanine. This card is pretty cool. It wasn't on my favorites list when I first got it. However, it's grown on me since I played it in my Arcanine deck, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Originally, I probably would have put it in C because it's just like, the artwork's alright, but I've grown on it because the card is like so fun to play with. Next up we have Spiritomb here. This one is just incredible. This is like everything a character rare should be in this regard. When you're using like a ghost type Pokemon, make it creepy and put lore in there. That's what I love about character rares, is when they put lore in the character rares, and this is one of them. Just does it so perfectly. Not gonna spoil anything if you haven't played Legends Arceus, but it's perfectly fitting. The very cool reflection in the glass too, with the whited out face. Absolutely amazing. S tier. We'll rearrange these at the end, like I said, but just a great character rare. Next up we have Gardenia and Roserade Shadow 2 Runegate, if he's watching, because he loves Gardenia a little more than anyone else I know. So this card is really cool. I really like how everything's kind of like jungly around them, and Roserade looks fierce. I'm going to put it in A tier. It's quite nice. Next up we have the Goofy Gar from Lost Origin over here. I think it was Lost Origins too. I don't remember what the English set name is called. I think it's Lost Abyss in Japan and Lost Origins over here. I'm going to give it B tier. It's not my favorite, but I did play with it and I had some fun with the card. And he's kind of goofy looking, if nothing else, so I'll give him that. And then last but not least, we have the character rare that we didn't get in English. This one was the Dream League box topper Lily promo with Clefairy. This card is very expensive. If you're trying to get a hold of it, it's over $150 last I checked. Thankfully, I got it when it was $10. It went missing for like 4 months when I ordered it, which is hilarious. but it eventually made its way back home. So very excited that I finally got it after like 6 months of being lost in the mail. I ordered in like January and it came in like July. I thought it was gone for sure, and by the time it had already like quadrupled in price to like $40. So glad it ended up making it home. I'm gonna put this up in A tier. It's not my favorite one. I wish I could say I like with all that sentimental connection I could put it in S, but the artwork is just really nice, but not amazing. If we're gonna rank the S tier again, these top 4 still stand. I think even the top 5 still stand. These are pretty solid. I'm gonna put this at number 6. I'm gonna put this at number 7, and this at 9 and 10, like this. So essentially, yep, we get a top 10 here. These are my top 10 character rares in that order. Druddigon, just my absolute favorite character rare of all time. Such a beautiful card. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, go check out my other tier list videos. I also do tabletop gameplay, TCG, often in retro format, so check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.